Chapter 24. Mara. Death was surprised when she had to drag Adina's vengeful lover to the moors. His was the level she had expected to see awaiting her. He was quite unassuming, a telly in the slums, a wielder in the arena. But the powerful man did not struggle or beg. No, he had chosen to meet Mara. And it was Peyton Gray who delivered him to death. She now sits on the floor of a cell between two brothers. Indefinitely, it would seem. The man lies cold on the floor, his soul no longer tucked beneath the dagger protruding from an unmoving chest. His still features look relieved, for he, unlike most, found peace in his fate. Mac was his name, though he no longer has use for it. Peyton mourns this man, quietly and at length. Kai adorns one side, Kit the other. The king frequently meets Mara's gaze from where she stands before the bars. She recognizes, indifferently, that this man's demise further stains Kit's inky palms. But this, and the many other poor decisions he has made, does not perturb Mara. She is death, after all. Who is she to judge the flaws of a hopeful human? Besides, her own moral compass is questionable, at best, and this boy is the first to notice her since this eternity began. He is now her true north, a dangerous bestowment of death's affection. Everything else has faded away. He is her heartbeat. Mara does not stay long. This silent gathering around a corpse is quite dull. You see, death has grown quite numb to grief. She finds it to be pointless, and above all, boring. Yes, she has other souls to tend to. Lenny and Blair sit on a lumpy cot in the slums. They have wisely relocated to the Imperial's home and are found splitting a loaf of stale bread. The telly looks peeved. This looks promising. Death takes a seat on the floor before them, like a child preparing to be read an intriguing story. I can't believe this is all you can afford. I didn't become an Imperial for the money, Lenny mutters around a mouthful of dry dough. Actually, I did it to help the resistance. And now that you've failed? Blair asks, predictably demeaning. You will remain an Imperial because... Said Imperial swallows. Mara watches him mull the question over. Huh. I'm not sure. Then quit, she supplies. A long moment passes in which they both pick at their portions. Death's gaze flicks between them. These two are her last resort for entertainment and are, as of now, failing miserably. What if I went with you? Lenny suddenly blurts. Oh, this will do nicely. Blair aims her sharp scrutiny at him. What? Look. He turns to face her fully on the thin cot. We have already decided I'll help get you to Tando. So, what if I stayed there? I don't know what I want, but I can figure it out, he says hurriedly. There is no hierarchy of power there, and I would be closer to Ma. What are you saying, Gingersnap? The telly looks terrified. Her chest has halted, hoarding all the breath in her lungs. Death flicks her wide gaze between the souls. She is very happy with her decision to leave that damp cell when she did. Timidly, Lenny meets his former assignments, she is now so much more, piercing gaze. I think, maybe, we could be enough life for one another. No, don't think, Blair orders. Not about me. Don't place your hope in a hollow heart. The Imperial shakes his head, now teetering on the verge of annoyance. Do you know how I found you in the slums that night you escaped? Blair stares at him, her defiance wavering. Because even then, I knew you, Lenny declares. Your heart is not hollow. I listen for it in the silence. I find myself trying to memorize its unique pattern and hating that I can't. His words are a proverbial shake to the shoulders, and Mara cannot seem to look away. Blair, do you understand? He swallows. I would know you by the beat of your heart alone, and I think that should count for something. Mara remembers, bitterly, what it feels like to be on the receiving end of such a declaration. And yet, she has spent the eternity searching for any splinter of love, incessant and lodged beneath one's skin. Perhaps to reminisce on why she became death and determine whether it was worth it. Now the Telly's chest heaves as she stares at him in disbelief. I'm not asking you to love me, Lenny continues softly. Hell, you don't even have to like me. Not now. And maybe it's some sixth sense talking, but I'm drawn to you, Blair Archer. Bitch and all. He laughs helplessly. And I don't know what to do with that other than follow the sound of your heartbeat, wherever it may lead me. Blair merely blinks at his profession. Death, for one, was thoroughly moved by the Imperial's words, though you would never be able to tell by looking at her. She has begun, tentatively, to believe in. Not the hollow promises of her past, but the earnest companionship of her present. Though these souls hardly burn with an all-consuming love, they may begrudgingly blossom into something close. That, the Telly begins slowly, was unsurprisingly stupid. Look, I know how it sounds, but for all the words you've said, she cuts in. Those are the only ones I haven't hated hearing. A wide grin begins its slow spread across Lenny's lips. You feel it too? Mara inches closer, her gaze falling on the Telly. I didn't say that. Your heart is beating very fast. You can stay in Tando. Blair bites. But if you ever want to be seen with me again, you will need some actual clothes. Deal, the Imperial concedes. Fine, Blair says curtly. When do we leave? Once Peyton is settled? Lenny supplies. I would expect nothing less. This sarcasm is accompanied by the rolling of her eyes. The Imperial, being quite accustomed to her attitude, ignores this. I need to talk to her. She should know I'm leaving after the wedding. He stands then, stretching his long limbs. Blair huffs. I'll be here. I'll know. By the beat of my heart? The Telly blurts despite herself. Lenny turns, throwing a grin over his shoulder. I'll follow the sound of it home. Get out. Blair can hardly smother her smile. Deep down, she is a rather hopeless romantic, Death thinks. Before I change my mind about letting you come with me. The Imperial does as he is told, leaving with a glowing soul and a giddy grin. Mara feels a bit saddened by the sight, actually. There is little more for her to study. And where a jaded version of her once prayed for this unlikely pair's demise, Death now finds their unique bond annoyingly sweet. But no matter their fate, Mara will meet them again. Likely in this life, most assuredly in death.
Chapter 25. Kit. I carve every thought onto a page. Careless splotches of ink threaten to drown the words. I keep writing. I need to pry my mind free. Quiet moment. I need a quiet moment. Most of my days are forgotten. It's almost a relief. The plague is eating away at my mind. Don't take my mind, please. It's all I have left. Do not take my mind. I blink at the assortment of scribbled words before me. I don't remember writing them. This realization has me reaching for a murky vial at the edge of my desk. I swallow the potent contents, though I know it does nothing to help. I'm dying. Death herself has confirmed it. But pretending this medicine does anything at all helps me feel some semblance of control, like I'm not drifting in the unknown, sinking into a demise I brought upon myself. But the lonely abyss that is the moors will have to wait. Something far more treacherous awaits me today. I am getting married. I used to think such a declaration would accompany love. Now I know better. My stained fingers tug open a drawer to reveal the carved lid of a jewelry box. Dust has curled up between the swirling ridges of Ilia's crest, but the worn wood is still smooth beneath my fingers as I lift it onto the desk. My gaze flicks over this intimate memento. Mother and father are proof of my naivety. I once thought their adoration for each other was unrivaled, but the evidence within Iris Azur's jewelry box says otherwise. Her disloyalty is damning. A bastard may sit beneath the crown. Pain sears through my chest. I cough, tasting blood. My head spins violently. Then stillness. For one blissful moment. Kit? Death is suddenly standing before me. Mara, I breathe. The pain is gone. In fact, I feel quite well. Have you come to wish me luck before the wedding? She tilts her head, a continual quirk. I already did. The surge of power and pain you felt summoned me here. Her watchful gaze slides over me. That was some time ago now. Right, I say distantly. I know. No, you do not. Death returns, though her tone is intrigued where another's might sound demeaning. You don't remember our conversation. I open my mouth to deny the terrifying truth she has stumbled upon when my eyes fall to the empty desk before me. Where did the jewelry box go? I ask slowly. It was right here. You took it to your betrothed, Mara supplies. I went with you. Why? I pinch the bridge of my nose, feeling that splitting headache begin to return. Why would I do that? Death attempts that almost shrug of hers. Humans are sentimental. You wished for Peyton to wear a piece of your mother's jewelry. The love notes were still in the drawer. What the hell is wrong with me? Maybe she will think they are from father. Shit, I mutter. I need her to think they are from father. She cannot know. No one can know. I'm not a bastard. I am a king. I can't be a bastard. I must be a king. Monster. What if all I am is a monster? Shit. This curse is far louder than the last. I clutch my head. the twining crown piercing my palms, as if that alone could silence the noise within it. My breath is quick and shallow. Mara simply studies me, unflinchingly. Memory loss. The plague is overpowering you. The living can only handle so much. I'm fine, I pant. Why continue attempting this greatness? She asks plainly. You already know what fate awaits you, and yet you are to be married. My mouth is dry. You know why, Mara. This greatness isn't just for me. If I cannot reap the benefits of this new world I am creating, then Kai will. His legacy will be revered. I smile weakly at the thought. I will make sure of that. Because despite his gruesome role in life, he is not strong enough to do what needs to be done. Mara studies me softer than her typical scrutiny. Her brown eyes flick over my face. They trace my brows, my lips, my flickering soul beneath. There is something strangely intimate about the brushing of death's gaze. Chestnut hair slips over her cloakless shoulders when she cocks her head at me. You are the best this Azerline has to offer. I would know. Inky parchment swims before my eyes. I think you will find plenty who disagree when they discover what I've done. I drum my fingers against the wooden desk. Mara takes a slow step forward. She extends a hand that brushes my own. Her touch is cold, startling. Most do not appreciate the art of necessary brutality, she reassures. But I am not most. I am all. Agony. It cleaves me in half. Then I'm standing before my court. I blink at them from the dais draped in flowers. The Queen's crown awaits Peyton's head beside me. The doors swing open. My wedding is sprawled before me, and I don't remember arriving. Peyton Gray strides towards me. She looks horrified. I'm not the brother she wants. Am I what my brother wants? Or will he choose her? Always her, only her. I grit my teeth, fight to stay present in this moment. My fingers toy with the buttons of my elegant tunic. Peyton meets me at the altar. I offer her a hand. My gaze skims over her swiftly, searching for any flash of jewels, but my bride-to-be wears none of my mother's belongings, nor the look of one who discovered a ruinous detail. She did not find the notes. The scholar rattles off a string of sentences I hardly hear. I'm far too focused on not retreating into my muddled mind. I say, I do, when I am told. I'm surprised when Peyton manages to choke out the words after me. She really would do anything for a united Ilya. And I will keep that promise. Soon, we will all be united. As elites. I am urged to kiss the bride. Some part of me figured Kai would burst into the throne room by now, but he doesn't. And that is hope. I kiss his beloved swiftly. Kai doesn't know it yet, but this is for him. For us, always. We turn towards the crowd, our fingers interlaced. I meet death's gaze in the sea of bodies. It is fitting that she is here. A piece of me has just died. Love is a luxury. And the naive boy who thought differently is laid to rest in this flowery grave.
Chapter 26. Mara. Mara's gaze traces the steady trickle of blood cascading down the stone steps. It pours from the crumpled man beside her, life leaking from the wound in his chest. And though death has a duty to fulfill, gathering this soul for the moors and whatnot, Mara would like a moment longer to admire such an act of violence that was surely warranted. Kit, with a detached ruthlessness that awed even death, plunged a sword through this man's chest. She had never seen this soul before, but the king had doubtlessly delivered it to her for a reason. It is admirable, Kit's conviction. For he and death are one and the same. Yes, they do what must be done. Mara drags the stoic soul into the afterlife while the king and queen converse in hushed voices. She trudges through the moor's swampy earth with the happy couple in mind. This is facetious, of course. They look rather miserable together, to her delight. No, death does not feel threatened by Peyton Gray. She admires the stubborn soul, that is to be sure. But this ordinary, as they call those mysteriously untouched by the plague, Mara would have to ask the trees about that, is not fated for this Azure. Rather, her soul is tethered to his brother. And Kit's belongs to death, eternally. She leaves the disoriented man on a patch of cracked earth. He killed me. Me? I did everything for him, his father, and all out of fear he was a bastard? A pang of hurt hits Mara in the chest, right where her thawing heart resides. Kit had not confided in her. She blames this lapse in judgment on his fragile mind. For he would have shared something so significant with her. She knows it. Their connection runs deep, unlike anything death has ever felt, in this lifetime, at least. Such a bond as this is woven into their very beings. This is fate, and the last man Mara thought this of quickly met his, brutally. Death is nothing if not obsessive. Every creature is compiled of flaws, and Mara is more aware of hers than most. Her intelligence and insatiable curiosity are only rivaled by these possessive tendencies. Nobody is perfect. But she has diligently buried that part of herself for longer than a lifetime, you see, and it has grown rather tiring. It is not death's fault that Kit Azure makes her feel young, alive, like she is staring into the face of a lost lover. Mara spends some time, it is impossible to know how long in the moors, collecting trapped souls from their cold corpses. Her craft has been rather neglected since her intrigue, infatuation, some might say, with the king. So, death listens to the griping of every soul she drags, even apologizes for not tending to them sooner. For she is not a monster. When Mara finally steps back into the land of the living, night has fallen over Ilya. She makes her way to the king's study, rather giddily for death, and one might even be able to tell from her expression. Kit is found precisely as he always is, hunched over a pile of parchment and scribbling relentlessly. "It seems I missed your second wedding," Mara says by way of greeting. She knew of their plans for a ceremony on Lute. Strange, these humans. The king does not look up from the steady stream of ink he guides across the page. Golden hair sticks up between the woven crown atop his head. He manages only a few muttered words. "No, I have to keep writing, before it's too late." Death seems to have caught him at a bad time. It is the plague that has hold of his mind now. Or rather, a power Mara knows to be quite dominating. But this brief spell of hysteria hardly deters her. Kit will soon be free of the life he grapples with and cling wholly to death. I dragged the soul you killed to the moors. Mara takes a seat before the king's desk. He seemed less than pleased. That cloudiness in Kit's gaze retreats at the words. He blinks then, as though waking up from a dream. The king is back, if only for a little while. Callum, he murmurs. His green gaze, Mara's weakness in every lifetime, falls to the ink coating his palms. I don't know what came over me. He was a threat, and suddenly I was running him through with my blade. Death's boot taps a steady beat against the worn rug. You did not tell me your worry of legitimacy. A crease of confusion forms between his brows, right above those eyes Mara has fallen for more than once. It was not your burden to bear. What is yours? Death stares at him pointedly. Is mine. Our eternity begins very soon. Kit visibly fights to stay focused. He shakes his head, runs a hand down his face. What do you mean, our eternity? Well, we are fated, of course. Death says simply. You have sacrificed your soul to be with me. We will rule the moors together. She reaches for the king's hand, her cold fingers brushing his. Never again will we be lonely, not beside one another. Kit looks down at where their hands meet. Mara. She likes the sound of her name until a humorous chuckle follows. Your company has been very much appreciated, and I think we both learned something from one another. But what? Death's voice grows chilled. She has heard a version of this speech before, from lips that look like his. But, he sighs out, you are death. Mara's foot ceases its tapping. I didn't want to meet you. Kit says this in the way humans shrug, casually and without thought. I mean, you can't fault me for that. And I've enjoyed our time together, but we can't be together. He offers an apologetic look. You do understand that, right? Oh, Death understands. All too well. She yanks her hand from the king's with an icy fury. You think you are too good for me? I didn't say that. Mara laughs, the sound sharp and so unlike her usual stoicism. The king startles at such an outburst. You think I am not precisely the power you seek? Slowly, she stands to her feet. Few are lucky enough to behold me and live, but none are so foolish as to deny me. Kit lifts his hands, as though death is a creature to be tamed. Mara, I know you. He holds her frigid gaze. I am not afraid. You should be. She snarls. Her frozen heart is breaking in two, and the feeling is painfully familiar. I am your death, and it will not be kind. The king clutches his chest then, wincing at the pain that pulses there. Mara, please. I will not be made a fool, she seethes. Not again. For the first time, Kit can see every emotion crashing into her features. She wears it all: hurt, betrayal, the memory of a moment that mirrors this one. You may not want me, but life no longer wants you. Death leans over the desk, skewering Kit to his seat. Your soul is mine, and what is left of me could have been yours, she murmurs. But now I won't be so gentle. Mara is not a monster. unless you make her out to be one. As she vanishes from the study, Death is reminded of her abhorrence for the living. They are just as fickle as the fate that toys with them. Yes, whatever part of Mara longed, a rhythm to revive her heart, a loving caress to warm her cheek, a green gaze to look her way, has died all over again. Her heart is a coffin, and any man she lets inside will surely meet their doom. Fondly, Mara thinks on this. Not quite a monster, no. But revenge is certainly a bitch.
Chapter 27. Kit. I am drifting somewhere dark. Healers crowd my study. They pass a pitying look between themselves. He's dying, their eyes say. I know, respond my sunken ones. Then there is nothing. 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 I blink back into myself. Several new letters scatter the desk. They spell out Callum's death at my hand. I trace the morbid truth with my gaze, realizing I've turned a daughter into a fellow orphan. I would tell Mara why. I had to, if she hadn't already vanished. My gaze lifts from the page. Death stands before me. My mind is hazy. Her words swim in and out of my comprehension. She wants to be with me. I must have heard her wrong. She is death. I tell her so. Mara does not take that well. I was beginning to think her reputation was unwarranted. But death is deserving of the fear she so easily earns. My head aches, my chest constricts. I did precisely what I wished to prevent. Make an enemy of death. Nothingness follows. Then my brother, he stands beside my wife. The sight is unsurprising. She killed your father, not mine, I hear Kai say, his voice muffled in my ears. The plague loosens its grip long enough for me to hear his damning words. Peyton is more your family than I am. I'm drifting again, overwhelmed by the traitorous power consuming me. No, I need to speak to my brother. I rage against the darkness. Please. I'm sinking into oblivion. Let me out. Let me out. I need my brother. I need to know what I'm saying to him. Nothing. When I wrestle myself free from the plague's clutches, there is a sword in my hand. I lift the blade to block the stoker Kai brandishes. He is panting. So am I. We are sparring. We are smiling. We are falling back into a familiar, lethal dance. I fight to remain in this moment with him, but it fades like all the others. It's a sudden burst of pain that pulls me back to the present. I lift my bleary gaze. Kai stands at the end of the stoker he holds. But it is death who drives it into my chest. She wears a twisted grin. Her cold hands wrapped around the iron shaft. Mara, with the gentle smile. Mara, with the flower on her nose. Mara, with the heartbeat I lent her. Mara, vengeance incarnate, guides that stoker through my flesh. She is my death. No, Kai cries. You were supposed to dodge, Kit. I prod at the wound staining my fingers with blood. I forgot. Just as I've forgotten everything. My brother catches me when I fall. This is not how I imagined it, dying. The plague curls up in the corner of my mind, letting me enjoy these last few moments of life. I don't feel pain. Not really. This is relief. Death stands over Kai's shaking shoulders, her pretty face unfeeling. I cling to my fading soul. I am with my brother, and I don't want to be anywhere else. I wrote you letters, I eventually say. Mara's presence grows stronger in my tightening chest. So you can see why I'm a monster. I need him to know, love me still. Forever, always. For him, I would do it all over again. It is time, Death says coldly. I lift my blurring gaze to her. I'll go gently. For you. There is no flash of light. No bang or slow fade. Kit, now only a soul, feels cheated. A presumably long while after Kit's foretold demise, he no longer has any concept of time, you see. Death disturbs his peace. He was just getting used to it, actually. The nothingness of it all. Only 2 stars keep him company, though often at a comfortable distance. Yes, the late king is alone, but decidedly not lonely. Not like he was among the living. Kit is sitting within the nuzzling nothingness, neither up nor down nor anything at all, when Mara steps into the darkness beside him. She wears a look that one would assume justifiably accompanies death. Bleak and cold. The pretty features the king once passively admired are now vacant of any emotion. Deader than perhaps even she. Her hollow gaze flicks over him with a chilling indifference. Are you enjoying your peace? Kit nods, weary of this volatile death. I am beginning to. It's quiet. He quite likes that, he realizes. My mind hasn't been quiet in a while. Good. The word is cutting from Mara's tongue. She doesn't sound happy for him, rather morbidly excited at the vulnerability of his enjoyment. And when a smile touches her cold lips, Kit fears for the life he no longer has. Now I get to rip such peace away from you. The fallen king blinks at his grinning demise. What? I only showed you such peace so I could take it away. Death informs coolly. She then tilts her head at him, a habit that Kit once found curiously endearing. Did you really think I would allow you the quietness you so crave? Kit stands to his feet in the void. I don't understand. There is much he has yet to comprehend. Most of all, the significance of Mara's seemingly sudden hatred for him, or rather, the Azure it belonged to long before. Loathing often finds a way to recognize itself in another, and in this lifetime, it has latched onto a different pair of green eyes. Though they say the same thing when meeting deaths, she cannot possibly be loved. I warned you, death would not be kind. I would not be kind. Mara snarls, and the darkness quivers around her. She draws a breath, then, one Kit suspects she does not need. Then, leisurely, that worrisome smile returns to her lips. And now, you possess more of me than any other soul. Kit knows he is not meant to understand this, and that frightens him greatly. Mara, please. You were always meant to be king, Kit. Grinning, Death grabs his arm. Just not of Ilya.
Chapter 28. Mara. 5 years later. Mud hugs the hem of Mara's cloak. With that green-eyed distraction, now a degraded soul at her disposal, Death happily returns to her eternity. She spends every waking hour, which are all of them as a creature who never sleeps, collecting souls with a newfound apprentice and accompanied detachment. Mara has learned from her mistakes. In this lifetime, at least. The passing of an elderly man leads Death to Tando. She walks along the spiritual plane until finding his still body tucked away in a quaint cottage. His wife is still weeping over the rather peaceful-looking corpse when Mara tugs his soul free from it. He protests as Death leads him from the home, only because he wishes to say goodbye to the wailing woman. Mara might have found this sweet if she still believed in love. So she herds the soul down quiet streets and between neat brick buildings. That is, until a distantly familiar voice has Death stalling. You're useless, Gingersnap. I honestly don't know what you expected, sending me to get your ingredients. Yes, silly of me to think you would actually get anything on my list. Mara rounds the corner, ignoring the grumbling soul behind. There, striding toward her, is the Telly and her Imperial. Blair's lilac hair is swallowed by the hood of her cloak, but the scars climbing up one side of her face are worn proudly. Lenny walks beside her, nearly unrecognizable without that starchy uniform. His hair is longer, clothes plain, an arm slung around his former assignment's shoulders. Get off me, she orders, attempting to shove him away. But the Hyper clings to her closely, even daring to plant a kiss to her temple. Blair hides her smile with a sound of disgust, but there is no denying it. Their souls are irrevocably intertwined. Yes, a vibrant glow of green and gold swirls around them, tangling into one. Death stares at them in disbelief, and she might have even shown it on her face. Because, after all this time, they are still doomed. Lenny, grinning widely, has nearly passed Mara when his eyes suddenly meet hers. Death stills. He smiles. Good morning. To some, this is a simple, polite greeting. To Mara, this is the first acknowledgement she has received in years. And all because a Hyper found his sixth sense. Blair glances vaguely in Death's direction before scoffing at Gingersnap, which is most assuredly an endearing name now. Who the hell are you talking to? The nice lady? Lenny murmurs. Don't be rude just because you didn't get your sifted flour or whatever. Mara simply blinks at the apologetic look he throws over his shoulder. She listens to them bicker. Some things never change, it seems, as they stroll down the street and stop before a corner shop. It is a bakery, Death realizes. Blair dons an apron beyond the large window. Lenny ties it for her. It is their bakery. Mara, rather begrudgingly, feels something at the sight of them. She doesn't really want to think on it, actually, because she fears what will be discovered. Perhaps happiness. Or worse, envying such a thing. So, she carries on down the street with a soul destined for the moors. Mara expects no more interruptions, but the sudden tugging in her chest cannot be ignored. She follows it, fervently and without thought, because Death knows nothing but this something that calls to her. A muted market street spans before her, but Mara's gaze cuts through the crowd. There, with an ear of corn in hand, skips a little girl. Her parents are a piece of Ilya, one with silver hair and the other with that intriguing soul. But it is the child Death is drawn to. She crouches before the girl, her hair glinting gray in the speckled sunlight. "Hello, little one," Mara says. Her smile is bright in the face of Death. "You have pretty hair," the child says sweetly. Peyton takes her daughter's hand. "Who are you talking to, Kit?" This name has a smile curling the edges of Death's lips. It is a bit uninspired, if you ask her. Mara tilts her head at the girl and watches as the happy family strides past. The girl and her promising soul wave goodbye to Death. But this is not the last time they will meet. Mara taps a steady rhythm with her boot. Though, she no longer pretends the beat belongs to her heart. No, she now finds comfort in the lack of such fragility. For she cannot be confined. Not by life, and certainly not by man. But perhaps by a woman. Death smiles. She has finally met her match.
Epilogue. Kit. The trees murmur as he passes beneath them, their mossy branches caressing his cloaked shoulders. Kit does not hear his mother's voice among them, for he knows not what to listen for. Her voice is a memory, so distant and delicate that he would much prefer it stays within the confines of his mind. There, it is safe from the moors. The ground softens beneath his boots, giving way to mud as the spindly trunks begin to thin. Kit passes flippantly a fellow king who tears madly at the chalky bark of a tree. It once riled him, the thought of an eternity of disregard from the father who despised him. But he has learned to enjoy the solitude of his role in the moors. For he weaves unnoticed among the wailing souls. Now he finds his own peace in admiring the deranged man that was once his everything. For Kit has watched, since the beginning of this eternity, his father futilely attempt to free Iris Moira from her peace. Even now blood trickles from the cracked fingernails of a once fearsome Edric Azar as he claws at the trunk of an unassuming tree. He seems rather confident that his wife lies within this one, Kit observes. Though in the end, they will never know. Kit cannot tell his mother or little sister from any other peaceful soul embedded into the fabric of the moors, for his power is limited. But selfishly, he is grateful to not know where his loved ones rest. You see, Kit Azar is embarrassed. He does not wish for them to see what has become of him. The ever-gray sky hangs low above Kit's blonde head, dull without a gilded crown adorning it. A sharp tug in his chest has his pace quickening. His afterlife is quite demanding. In fact, he has spent most of his eternity so far contemplating how it might have turned out differently. Perhaps then, if he had offered Mara the companionship she so craved, he would not be a slave to the Moors now. Or perhaps this was Death's plan all along. Only she wished to have him and his affections. But Kit has no love left to give. Did she not understand that he was nearly incapable of the feeling? Even still, she punishes him for such unrequited sentiment. And despite all Kit now knows of the plague and its truth, he remains at a loss for how it all came to be. Or rather, how it all began with Mara. "Go watch her," Death says upon Kit's arrival to their usual meeting place. It is a particularly precarious patch of cracked earth they now stand opposite on. Mara keeps her distance, cold and indifferent. Kit keeps his composure, foolishly hopeful for a friendship in the next lifetime, if he is lucky. And it is quite clear that he is not. "Any specific reason?" he asks, knowing Mara may not deign to answer. Surprisingly, she does. "It's her birthday. I want to know what she is up to." Kit does not question her further. Instead, he simply nods and shuts his eyes in concentration. "Remember what I taught you," Death adds despite herself. Because buried somewhere deep within that frigid heart of hers, she still cares for the Azure. Lose control to it. Focusing on that kernel of shifting power within him, Kit does as Death instructs. Yes, he awakens the drowsy formidability curled up between his ribs, and now he does not fight it. He understands it. He melts from one plane to the next before his feet sink into plush carpet. It has gotten easier. The sickening sensation and the rushing of power, though he is but a fraction of Death herself. Such an endeavor as this thoroughly drains him. But Kit, who hates admitting such a thing, does not mind doing Mara's bidding. It makes him feel something he rarely did when living. Needed. Panting, Kit looks around, taking in what once was his home. The castle looks different, warmer than it had the last time Death ordered him to Ilia. He wonders, distantly, just how much time has passed since he drew his last breath in the study down the hall. He sets a quick pace towards the girl's room, fearing whomever it is that has piqued Death's interest. He knows very little of this mysterious being, only vague details from the clipped conversations Mara allows. But Kit was wrong to be fearless in the face of Death the first time, for it is fear that would have kept him alive. The hallway curls around a corner, and Kit follows before he finds himself faltering to a stop. There, clutching a carton of plump blueberries, stands the only person Kit Azure ever truly learned to love. "Kitty?" Kai's gaze widens on the ghost of his brother, welling with tears. He trembles slightly in a way the Enforcer rarely did when Kit was alive. But he is king now. And perhaps, strangely, that gives him power to feel more freely. "Is it really you?" Kai chokes, nearly laughing. Kit notices distantly the time has taken its toll on only one of them. Stubble now shadows Kai's strong jaw beneath the eyes creased with years of laughter. And not for the first time. Kit feels cheated. It was he who was meant to grow old alongside his brother. You, the servant of the moors, struggles to swallow the emotion clogging his throat. You can see me. Tears fall swiftly from Kai's gray eyes. Of course I can see you, Kit. But I'm not sure why, because in this moment, Kit cares not for his death, or life, or what might have been. No. All that matters is what Kai thinks of him, in this life and the next. But even after all these years, Kai still sees his brother, not the monster he has become. It wasn't your fault, the dead brother reassures. I could have saved you. You were sick, but I was already dying, brother. Kit murmurs, his voice breaking. Death was the one who drove that poker into my chest, not you. Kai runs a hand through his hair, displaying the strands beginning to gray at his temples. Death? I don't understand. He almost laughs. Am I going mad? No, brother. Kit remembers how to smile for him. But I do wonder how you can see me. I see you everywhere, Kit. In every smile, every ripple of water, every blade that I can't bear to raise. Kai steps forward slowly. And now you're actually here. I'm not here. Tears stream down Kit's cheeks when he squeezes those green eyes shut, the ones that got him into this mess in the first place. Not really. Are you? Shit. This is ridiculous. Some kind of ghost? The dead king looks up at the living one before him. I am much worse. Kai reaches for a brother that evades his touch. Let me help you, Kit. Please. There is no help for me in the moors. The words are dull. I am death. Not in its entirety, but enough to make me useful. And it is all my doing. Kit shakes his head. I gambled with power, and it took control. The king stares unblinkingly at this Kit before him, oddly familiar yet entirely unknown. The plague, he murmurs. Is that what did this to you? The sliver of death does not answer. He too has become rather cryptic. An occupational hazard, it seems. The king's voice grows stern. What is the plague, Kit? You do not wish to know. Kai rubs his tired eyes. I don't understand. You're not meant to. And you are death. The words are drenched in disbelief before a rush of realization swiftly washes them away. Am I going to die, Kit? Is that why I can see you? The brothers behold each other for a moment, that has even eternity shying away. For this bond is infinite. Not yet, brother. And then Kit is gone, tugged from that physical plane by his master. He stumbles back into the moors where Mara awaits. She does not look at him. "How is my prodigy?" Kit hardly hears the lie he spews, for his mind is far away, in the land of the living, where his heart ceased beating years ago. Death seems pleased by his answer nonetheless. Good. We have much work to do. Her lips curl into that cruel smile. Then they form the mocking title she has bestowed upon him. Welcome home, King of the Moors.